Who the hell can wait till morning? Talk now at latenightsportsradio.com.
I'll get the guns, the drugs from my generation. I'll take the fall, the state, and across the nation. And it's a state, the guns, the fake, the fraud, the messing with me. Come on.
Let's get it on. Welcome to another week of the Hold 1005 podcast. If you've been counting, this is actually week number 11 for us, which definitely was more than what I thought it was going to be. I am your hostess with the mostess, everybody's favorite fangirl, professional fangirl. I'm known as Ryan Taylor Girl, also known as Brandy, sometimes called Alaska because that's where I happen to live, separated from the rest of humanity.
Yes, and it is I, Robbie S., once again, pro wrestling enthusiast, gamer on all fronts, and currently the only person in the world that would ever consider getting a dentist appointment on his vacation week. So
yes,
make of that what you will.
He actually did that. He was on vacation and he went to the dentist and he was supposed to just get a cleaning. However, they found cavities, so somebody decided to go ahead and let him do it now.
Yeah, hey, I'm more than happy doing it, but that Novocaine, oof, it gets to you.
It does. It gets to you. And this week we kind of have a packed show for you. If you want to call in, you want to talk to us, you want to ask some questions, throw in your 2 cents. That call-in number is 585. Hold on one second. It is 585-633-7487. You can follow us on Twitter. Send us some questions on there at Hold1005. And without further ado, we'll kind of jump into our game, first of all, because there's a lot of wrestling jargon and stuff to go through. Last week's number was 989. Thank you, Andrew, for picking such an obsequious number.
Thank you, buddy.
And that was the flying somersault. And Vicky, of course, was correct in naming this, and she is now 10-0. So she has 10 more victories to get, and then I have to play 30 minutes of Batman Arkham Asylum on my PlayStation 3 and stream it on Twitch. I'll then do a little video to put up on YouTube if you don't want to sit and watch it for half an hour. Sort of the best and the worst.
Batman games.
And I'm going to ruin it with my potty mouth.
Oh, you kidding me? Let's Players Online are known for their potty mouths.
I don't really play video games because I don't know how.
No, trust me. Drop a couple F-bombs, you'll fit right in, trust me.
Alright, well this week's number is number 11 because this is show number 11 for us. And who doesn't love a good This Is Spinal Tap reference? It is Jericho's favorite movie after all, because sometimes we have to go all the way to 11. So if you can tell us what hold number 11 is, find me on Twitter at Ryan Taylor Girl. Find the show on Twitter at Hold 1005. Send it to us telepathically via osmosis, whatever, what have you. And we'll see if we can break Vicky's streak before you guys are detrimented to have to listen to me play or attempt to play. We don't really have much in the way of news this week. Uhaa Nation has been given his official WWE name, which is Apollo Crews. I'm not a fan of the last name. Apparently it was chosen because he resembles, who was it?
Terry Crews, the Old Spice actor.
Right.
And Everybody Hates Chris. There's another role of his.
Yeah, I guess.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine, all that.
I don't watch a lot of sitcoms, and I don't really pay attention to commercials, so I didn't know he was the new Old Spice guy. But that's where they got the last name. I think that when they move him to the main roster, they'll probably drop the last name like they did with Cesaro and Neville, except for they dropped their first names.
And it'll just be Apollo, which would make sense because Apollo's a more dynamic name than Crews is. So there you have it.
And once he's just Apollo, we can be the Apollo Nation, which kind of is a throwback to Uhaa Nation. And it's rumored that he's supposed to make his debut at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn.
They actually announced that. They announced that he'll be in action on on the 22nd at the Barclays Center. Who he's going to face, we don't really know. All we know is that Cruz is going to have his debut match, and that should be very, very entertaining.
Very good. I think everybody's going to be pleasantly surprised with Apollo. As far as other news, both Sheamus and Alicia Fox have been cleared. They were looked at by the WWE doctors on Monday, and they were cleared from concussion symptoms, so that's why both of them were able to compete and be a part of Raw, because they were cleared that day.
Which would make sense because in another piece of news I just found out, they don't really know. But by they, I mean WWE higher-ups. They don't know if Cena will be 100% for SummerSlam. He might not be on the show at all. So they have a backup plan, which is, and this is just a rumor, this is hearsay, but it's going to be Seth Rollins defending the World Heavyweight title against Sheamus and Randy Orton in a triple threat. Now, this isn't set in stone. This is just an observation. What's your take on that? Do you think that would be a
I
event?
think that I don't think it would be good, but
Of course.
I do think that's probably viable because of the finish they had on Raw last night. They had a triple threat match to determine who would face Seth Rollins for the world title, and it was Kevin Owens versus Cesaro versus Randy Orton. Sheamus came down, interfered, interjected himself, RKO out of nowhere, and Randy Orton won by disqualification. So I think that is what they're attempting to set up, and if they don't, who cares about continuity, because it's WWE, right? Because at this point, they really aren't sure if he will be, he meaning Cena, will be able to compete after the nose incident. Mm-hmm. And if you want, you can buy that You Can't See Me shirt that Seth Rollins has now on WWEshop.com.
That's right.
At least somebody in that department has a sense of humor.
They do.
And,
they do.
Speaking of sense of humor, something that wasn't funny but happened at House Show this weekend in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada, a fan in the audience threw a replica Money in the briefcase at Roman Reigns' head, and it actually did hit him in the head. And he was obviously he scuffled with some other fans there. He was apprehended by security, with whom he also scuffled with before being ejected and arrested from the building. The charges were filed, but they were dropped because he apologized. However, he has been banned from all future WWE events.
And just today, I saw some of the video from that event, and from what I saw, it seemed like the other fans around him were chanting for him to throw it, like, cash it in, throw it in, just egging the fan on. So it seems like he's not the only guilty party, but, he was the one who threw the briefcase. He's the one who takes the lashes, as it were.
True, and he was, there is the whole thing of peer pressure. They were egging him on, and he shouldn't have done it. I believe the people that were egging him on also got thrown out of the building. I don't know that for sure, but I would think that would be the proper precaution to take, would be to send the people out around him who encouraged him. And I hope this person feels like shit, because not only did he spend like $200 on this replica briefcase, and then lost it because he had to throw it at Roman Reigns, and of course they're not going to give him the weapon back. Got arrested and held in jail for a couple of days. You'll have to ask Dean Ambrose if he's been in a Canadian jail, see how those are. And now he can't ever go to another WWE event ever again.
Which is deserved. He made a stupid decision, and he was apologetic for it, but at the same time, he did a terrible thing. Maybe WWE will be forgiving somewhere down the road and lift that banishment, but who's to say at this point?
Who's to say? If they do, maybe in, say, 2, 3, 5 years down the line, he probably won't be allowed anywhere near where people would come through the ring. Or in front row, which I think he was near front row. But that's enough about that. There really wasn't a lot going on news-wise. We'll go into the results from Ultima Lucha, because when we previewed Ultima Lucha a couple of weeks back, we said that afterwards we would go over all the results from you. And of course, it was in 2 parts. So the first part had started off Cage taking on the Mac, and I don't remember any of our predictions. It was Falls Count Anywhere, yeah. And Cage won. Cage destroyed Mac.
Yes, my prediction was correct, and he defeated Mac with a curb stomp move through the cinder blocks. Right? It was the cinder block spot. It was a curb stomp. Yeah, I thought that was super violent. But the spot of the night, as far as that match was concerned, was the Mac taking out these Miller Lite cans, and Miller Lite was the drink of the night on Ultima Lucha. He clashed the cans together, drank the booze, and hit a Stone Cold Stunner on Cage. And one criticism, though, he tried to go for the pin, only got the 2 count, and I can imagine Stone Cold, who's very protective of finishers, would not be happy about that.
No, and you have to be careful about those. Also, for the Lucha Underground Trios Championship, the Disciples of Death actually defeated the team of Son of Havoc, Ivelisse, and Angelico, so my prediction was wrong.
And mine was correct.
And so we have new Trios champions.
Yes, and I don't know. I think I was expecting a little bit more from this match. I didn't come away disappointed. Maybe I expected more. I will say this, though. Angelico is a madman. I predicted he was going to do some crazy spot. He did not disappoint. Took another death-defying leap, and got himself a holy shit moment.
Mm-hmm. I think Angelico is definitely one of my top 5 from Lucha Underground, for sure.
No one in WWE is interested in him.
Mm-hmm. Better not go, though. We'd miss him. And lastly, for the first night in the Believers Backlash Lumberjack strap match, in which you had the Believers of the Temple surrounding the ring with belts and whips and all sorts of fun, kinky stuff, Drago defeated Hernandez, which I think everybody loved and went apeshit over.
Yes, when I wrote my top 7 Lucha Underground matches for season 1, when I wrote that article,
which is available on 87sportsfans.com.
Thank you. When I wrote the article, I actually started with this match, and the reason I did that was because I thought it was the perfect visual, just the idea of all these fans surrounding the ring with the whips, supporting their man Drago, the beloved figure of Lucha Underground, and taking it to Hernandez, who, you and I have not been shy about his about criticizing his in-ring ability. But to his credit, he did very well. I thought that his facial expressions when he realized, oh shit, they're not going to whip Drago, and his reactions to getting whipped in general, I thought they were very good. So, give the devil his due in that regard.
Indeed, and speaking of, I actually read a Q&A with one of Lucha Underground's writers, and the match, the Believers Backlash, was actually Hernandez's idea.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty amazing,
actually,
right?
we have to give props, give thumbs up. And that was a great match. Definitely one to watch for sure. Actually, I would say watch both parts of these. If you haven't seen Lucha Underground, watch the first episode and watch this one, and you'll definitely be hooked.
And that was just the first night. Keep in mind.
That was just the first night, 1 hour. There was part 2. Now it turns out that the $100,000 Battle Royal was a dark match, so I don't believe it aired, but I'm sure there's probably footage somewhere. But
yes, the winner of that match.
Go ahead. You started, so.
Yeah, the winner of that match, which featured Superfly, Cage, Barrio Negro, El Sinestro de Muerte, Trece, Angelico, Ivelisse, Son of Havoc, Drago, and Hernandez, and El Mariachi Loco, wound up being won by El Mariachi Loco. The weight that this is going to have on storylines, I don't know. But the man came away with $1 million.
Yeah, he came out with some extra cash in that pocket. Next, you had Johnny Mundo taking on Alberto El Patron in the battle of the former WWE superstars, and what turned into be a very violent affair.
It was not the most violent match of the night, but still very good. I thought that both Mundo and El Patron did a very nice job.
They did, and spoiler alert, Mundo bleeds, and I can't really recall a time where he's bled before, and the man put Ric Flair to shame. Like, he bled buckets.
And he did bleed. Reason for that was because who would interfere but Melina from WWE fame, Johnny Mundo's former Flame? I'm not too sure. Anyway, she interfered, took Alberto El Patron's title, and clocked him with it, which gave Mundo the advantage, and he won the match. Mm-hmm. El Patron was clearly not in favor of it, which meant that in this full circle moment, El Patron sent Johnny Mundo's head through a window, and he came out gushing blood. It was rough to look at.
And then, of course, you had the striking visual of the handsome Johnny Mundo being all bloody, and Melina just screaming and holding him, and oh my god, it was a great visual.
And she could still scream. She's got a step.
She can still scream. So that was cool to have a sort of a moment with Melina, who doesn't really appear at many wrestling events anymore. So
no, she doesn't.
So next you had the Cero Miedo match, the Zero Fear match between Pentagon Jr. and Vampiro, which is
a fight. More of a fight than a real match, but tremendous stuff.
It was very interesting. I'm usually not a fan of the super hardcore stuff, but they did manage to kind of break it up so it wasn't just all straight, legit hardcore crap. Mm-hmm. And they did use light tubes, so if that kind of makes you squeamish, I would try and watch it, but when you see the white things come out, those are the light tubes, and they go and they make everybody bloody.
They exploded, and I loved it. I loved that visual.
And just usually in light tube matches, like in CZW, they just use one light tube at a time. But no, these were 3 light tubes taped together.
Yes, and Pentagon Jr., number of episodes back, he threatened to set Vampiro on fire. Well, it seemed like he got his wish. Vampiro tried to bring a table into the ring and set it on fire, which he succeeded in. However, Pentagon Jr. used that to his advantage, dropped Vampiro right through it. Vampiro caught fire, and immediately people were coming out with fire extinguishers, trying to put out this guy who was now on fire.
On fire.
And there were even little flames developing in the ring, and I was like, oh, someone's got to, like, ladies and gentlemen, probably don't need me to say this, but fire spreads if it's not taken care of.
Yes, and it's Vampiro actually did very well. I think he hasn't been in the ring for some time.
Yeah, the dude pulled off a senton from the top rope, which I wasn't expecting considering his age and the injuries he's had.
This is true, and also Pentagon Jr.'s mask got ripped, so that you could actually see part of his face, which is, you know, on the one hand, you kind of want to see who's under there, but on the other hand, like, oh no, what if his mask comes off, you know?
You always want to keep
on accident.
You always want to keep the mystique, but the blood helped to cover the face, I think.
That it did, and at the end, Pentagon Jr. Came out victorious, and afterwards he was like, Master, where are you? And by the way, this is after he breaks Vampiro's arm, and he told him to break it. It was a little weird. And he goes, Master, where are you? And Vampiro's like, yo, bro, I'm your master.
It's like, son, you are ready. So the temple went nuts for this revelation. You wouldn't think, like, a Vampiro heel turn. But no, the crowd was into it. Like, they were loving it. And I loved it.
I loved it. I want to see where this goes in season 2. Like, is Vampiro going to go back to the desk? How is he and Matt Striker? How is that dynamic going to go?
I can't imagine him going back to the desk. I think they're going to still have the 2-man commentary team, maybe with the commentator that was used the second night. I don't know, maybe they'll switch it out to see who will be a good fit for that. But I don't think I can see Vampiro being in that role anymore, especially now that he's taken on this role as Pentagon Jr.'s master.
This is true. Next we had the I put down GOG.
The Gift of the Gods championship
Gift
match.
of the Gods. There we go. I don't even get my own shorthand sometimes. But it was the Gift of the Gods championship battle royal.
Yes.
You want to go over the competitors for us?
Yes, it was Phoenix taking on Aerostar, Bengala, Big Rick, King Cuerno, Jack Evans, and Sexy Star, which I thought was a very fun multi-person match. Everyone seemed to get their own spots, whether it was Big Rick being the powerhouse showing his dominance, or King Cuerno honing in on his opponents and doing that really cool suicide dive where he's straight as an arrow. I love that move. But the spot of the night, I think, at least spot of that match, was Aerostar climbing to the top of the scaffold, which is a few stories above the floor level, and just diving off onto this pile of stars. Again, Aerostar's, I feel like he's underplayed as far as like the big stars Lucha Underground are concerned, but he's very good. These guys are all really good, I'd say.
They are, and in a turn that I didn't see coming, Phoenix won, and he is now your Gift of the Gods champion.
And he gets himself a guaranteed title match, Lucha Underground title match.
He does, as long as he gives Dario Cueto 2 weeks' notice so that he can advertise for it.
And doesn't wait too long.
And doesn't wait too long, because if he makes Dario wait too long, he's going to make him defend that title as a championship. Phoenix. And then, of course, once it's cashed in, the medallions come out of the belt, and they are back up for grabs.
It's a never-ending cycle.
Which is kind of cool. Next, we had a match that wasn't really as looked forward to as the rest of the card. You had Blue Demon Jr. taking on Tejano.
Probably the weakest of the matches on this card.
Not to say it wasn't bad, because it wasn't bad.
It never really kicked into second gear, I don't think.
No, there wasn't really, because Blue Demon was a last-minute-ish switch for Chavo Guerrero, who got injured. It really didn't have the same power as it would if it was Chavo taking on Tejano. But it was still good because, hello, Blue Demon, the man is a god, so...
True, but Chavo Guerrero did get to show up in this match. He interfered, didn't know whose side he was going to be on, which is total crap. He's a heel. So what happened was he brought a steel chair, struck Tejano in the face with it. Struck Tejano in the face with it, handed it off to Blue Demon, and now you have Chavo aligning himself with his former rival and the crew.
There we go. Blue Demon was victorious over Tejano. I want to see how they make Tejano face, because I don't like that guy.
Yes. And that's a prediction you got right.
Aha! I win!
Yes, you do.
Not really. And lastly, we had the Lucha Underground Championship match where you had Mil Muertes, Man of 1,000 Deaths, taking on Prince Puma.
Right. What I liked about this match was that it was very clean. I would have assumed there would have been shenanigans from Katrina or the Disciples of Death, who had just won their match. But no, this was a straight-up title match. Both guys got to show off their best skills, whether it was Prince Puma's heart and determination or Mil Muertes' power. Those two got their chance to show what they were all about.
They did, and I want to say that Prince Puma really got to show his ingenuity. There was one spot that I saw a GIF set of that I loved, and it's he picks up Katrina and he uses Katrina's body as a weapon, and he whips her around so that her feet hit Mil Muertes in the head, does a whirly bird around, and it's super cool.
Right.
But unfortunately, super cool and super heartful wasn't enough to save Prince Puma from the Man of 1,000 Deaths.
Mil Muertes got a flatliner from the top, which is a crazy move, crazy finisher. And that was what it took to put away the champion.
It did take a lot. But unfortunately, we do have a new Lucha Underground champion in Mil Muertes. I was wrong. And darkness has descended upon the temple.
It has. Though it doesn't seem like we're going to be in the temple for too long, as the ending segment of this show displayed.
This is very true, and you're going to have to watch for that one. We'll leave it a little bit cryptic.
Needless to say, it's a great show.
It is, and we'll have to see what Season 2 brings. At this point, we're just kind of waiting for when they call for the people to come to start shooting, because that's what they're all waiting for.
Yes.
So we'll definitely keep you updated as we know what's going on. Right now, we're going to go ahead and take a little break, but we'll be right back in a few minutes with the G1 Climax. See you
Do
right
not
here.
go anywhere.
So you think you are the center of the whole goddamn world, like everyone is just your pawn, with lust for the touch of your hand. I hate to always be the one to break the news, but the world is burning up because of anything you've ever done. So come on, let's get this story straight. Come on, come on, come on. So go, give it a try. Yeah, go, living your life. So let me tell you now, this is goodbye. 'Cause it's Hollywood and Vine that's calling you tonight. The product of an endless love for Hollywood. Oh, sell your life for bedroom eyes and pray that we cannot see through. I hate to always be the one to break the news, but we all seem to see the truth a little bit better than you. So go, give it a try. Yeah, go, living your life. So let me tell you now, this is goodbye. 'Cause it's Hollywood and Vine that's calling you tonight. So go, give it a try. Go, living your life. So let me tell you now, this is goodbye. 'Cause it's Hollywood and Vine that's calling you tonight. If I was a snake and you were a mouse, would you run from me? Should we stay forever apart? Would you make me free? I don't really care if you love me. Hold my heart at last. I don't really care if you need me. I should leave you fast. If I was a snake, I would be so wise. Never let you in. Would my life be terribly nice?
Who the hell can wait till morning? Talk now at latenightsportsradio.com.
Welcome on back to your Hold 1005 podcast only on Late Night Sports Radio. Just a reminder, if you do want to call into us, that number is 585-633-7487. Now, we're going to go into the current standings and remaining matches because there's 2 sets of matches left for Block B, and there's 1 set of matches left for Block A because I believe that show was yesterday for us, today for Japan.
Yes, the day 15 just passed, which means we have 4 more shows left in this G1.
That we do. So the current standings as they are right now for Block A, AJ Styles is leading, tied with Hiroshi Tanahashi, both at 12 points. Next in a tie for second, we have Tetsuya Naito and Bad Luck Fale of the Bullet Club at 10 points. Katsuyori Shibata at 8 points, along with Togi Makabe at 8 points. Kota Ibushi has 6 points. Toru Yano has 6 points.
He beat Kota Ibushi in the latest show.
We're still trying to get over that. Doc Gallows and Hiroyoshi Tenzan with 4 points. In Block B, out leading by himself with 12 points is the IWGP Heavyweight Champion Kazuchika Okada. Hi, Okada-san. Next, in a 3-way tie for second, you have Shinsuke Nakamura, Carl Anderson, and Hiroki Goto with 10 points. Tomohiro Ishii at 8 points, along with Michael Elgin, 8 points. Yujiro Takahashi and Satoshi Kojima with 4 points, along with Yuji Nagata, also at 4 points. And poor Tomokai Hanma at 0 points.
7 losses for that poor guy.
Poor bastard just can't win. And, sorry.
We're pulling for him, though.
Now we'll start with Block B for the matches that are left because there's 2 matches for each guy as opposed to just 1 for Block A. Carl Anderson versus Satoshi Kojima. And Carl Anderson versus Yujiro Takahashi. Those should be interesting matches. Michael Elgin versus Hiroki Goto. That should definitely be a good one. Michael Elgin versus Tomohiro Ishii. Also probably going to be a good one. This is one I'm looking forward to. Hiroki Goto versus Yuji Nagata. Yuji Nagata has been a favorite of mine since I was a little kid and he debuted in WCW. And
he was in WCW.
Cool. He was. It was like 95, 96, 97.
Yeah, he was in the WCW NWO Revenge game for the N64, if you remember that.
So it's nice to see him still wrestling at this point in his career, which is cool. Tomokai Hanma, if I'm saying his first name wrong, please tell me. Tomohiro Ishii and Yujiro Takahashi are his remaining opponents. Kojima will also be taking on Shinsuke Nakamura. That should be a good match. And these 2 are probably my top favorite matches to watch remaining in the tournament, aside from the final, of course. It's Nagata taking on Okada, which should be great. And then what I liken to as New Japan's version of The Rock versus Stone Cold in Shinsuke Nakamura taking on Kazuchika Okada, which is sure to be a classic.
Right. And those 2 have clashed a number of times in the past, but those 2 know how to work together. You know, the 2 members of Chaos, arguably the 2 most popular members of Chaos.
That they do. And for Block A, there's of course just 1 set of matches left since they just had their matches today.
But it does look very promising.
They do. All of them look really good. Bad Luck Fale will take on Toru Yano. Bye-bye, Toru Yano.
Otherwise, Bad Luck Fale, watch your dick.
He might, wing a DVD at you.
Or, splash water in your face. Whatever.
Doc Gallows will take on Shibata, which should be very good. I hope Shibata can pull this out for a win.
Yeah, Shibata lost 2 matches in a row. Shape up, man.
Yeah, it's sad. Ibushi will take on Togi Makabe, which should be an interesting clash of styles. But it should be good.
Can Ibushi upset the Never Openweight champion?
That would be very cool. If he did, I would say he'd be a heavy favorite for next year's G1.
I would think so.
Tetsuya Naito taking on Hiroshi Tenzan, which should be a good match. And AJ Styles taking on Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Already looks like the match of the night.
Definitely. So if Nakamura versus Okada is New Japan's version of Austin versus The Rock, what would it be Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels for AJ Styles and Tanahashi?
I haven't looked at it that way, but I think that's a pretty good comparison. I mean, you have Hiroshi Tanahashi, who's the stalwart New Japan pro wrestling guy. He's one of the most popular people there. He's been there for so many years. AJ Styles is a bit of a rebel, alongside Bullet Club, and he has his own bit of flash, his own bit of flair, and the fans still respect him, regardless of his association with Bullet Club.
Mm-hmm. I think we begrudgingly have to love Bullet Club just because they're too good not to love and respect.
They do, and there are a lot of good people in Bullet Club. AJ Styles, not just AJ Styles, but Carl Anderson, Kenny Omega, Young Bucks.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Next, we're going to move on to NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. It is sold out, so if you were waiting to get tickets, too late. You snooze, you lose.
13,000 plus tickets. This, my friends, dear listeners, makes it the biggest NXT Live special in history. This isn't a small Full Sail University crowd.
No, and this is also the first TakeOver special to be held outside of Full Sail University, so it is possible that you could see more NXT specials as the brand expands around the country, which would be super cool. But this is also a double-header day because this is going to be on August 22nd. Of course, NXT Brooklyn will be at the Barclays Center. Also in town at the ballpark,
MCU Park
will be ROH's Field of Honor, which they have ROH stars and New Japan stars. And somebody, not me because I live on an island in the middle of nowhere connected to nothing, will be there.
Oh, that's me.
That's you.
That's Robbie. Yeah, I'm super stoked for this, especially now because they've just announced a number of really promising matches. One of the matches in question is the 8-man tag match, which features Matt Sydal and ACH teaming with the Young Bucks to take on the Kingdom, a.k.a. Mike Bennett and Matt Taven, and Roppongi Vice, which is the team consisting of Rocky Romero and Beretta. That's one match. The other match... Trent Beretta, or Trent ? But the other match that was just announced was Unbreakable Michael Elgin taking on, in one of his first appearances in ROH, IWGP Intercontinental Champion Hiroki Goto. Meaning that I'll get to see this match not once on New Japan World, but twice, live. I get to see. And I've really been digging Goto since I've started watching New Japan consistently. And I think the big reason for this, and maybe this is just me, but he makes for a good contrast with a lot of the other guys because you have this sort of rock star Tanahashi, the very charismatic, enigmatic Nakamura, the conceited, flashy Okada, and then there's Goto, who's this very straight-laced samurai-like character. He doesn't cheat. He's honorable. He's very no-nonsense, and I think that helps him set him apart. He's become a favorite of mine.
Definitely, and since we do have the New Japan crossovers with ROH, we'll talk about that first. Other matches on this card will be Adam Cole versus Christopher Daniels. I think this is going to be a sleeper for a lot of people because there isn't a lot of flash or substance around them. There's nobody special coming in, but these guys are hard workers. They're nose to the grindstone kind of guys. They're charismatic. They're weird as fuck, but they're awesome.
Adam Cole, baby.
And if you make him mad, he'll tell you to suck his dick. So,
Yeah, don't do it.
Or he could do what Roddy Strong did. It was at a PWG event, and Adam Cole told him to suck his dick, and then he got out of the ring because Roderick Strong, and you don't want to get hit with one of those chops.
No,
and then Roddy was like, "Hey, get back in the ring," and he's like, "What?" He's like, "I'm gonna suck your dick." And so Adam Cole gets very excited, and he's like pulling the drawstring out of his trunks, and he chops him in the dick. It was priceless. I'll have to research and tell you which of the PWG shows I've been to that was, but that was hilarious. We also have the Briscoe brothers taking on the Time Splitters of Alex Shelley and Kushida. And it looks like we may have lost Robbie. Looks like the call dropped, but we'll work on getting him back on the line. Oh, and he's back. That works.
Yes, I'm sorry about that.
It's alright. His router does this thing where it needs to have a conniption almost exactly at 11:40
And
or
usually
10:40.
I switch to my data, but I mistakenly decided not to for this. So, yeah, sorry, everybody. Very unprofessional of me.
It's alright, it happens. But yeah, it's the Briscoes taking on Time Splitters, and I really, 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 really want the Time Splitters to win.
So do I. I get that a lot of people like the Briscoe brothers. I don't.
I don't.
I get that people like them. I get why people like them. But I'm just not a fan. I'm much more a fan of Alex Shelley and Kushida in particular. So I'm going to be there rooting for the Time Splitters.
Yes. Also in tag team action will be the Killer Elite Squad, which is the team of Davey Boy Smith Jr., also known as D.H. Smith in WWE, and Lance Archer, who was known as Vance Archer in WWE for like a hot minute, and Lance Hoyt in TNA. Taking on the War Machine, which is Hanson and Raymond Rowe. So that should be a very interesting power clash of champions. Do you imagine the four titans, like in Greek mythology, the titans fighting each other? This is what that would be.
That's right, and I like Davey Boy. I think he's been improving tremendously since his time in WWE. He's really gotten the chance to come into his own as a performer.
He really has, and I'm very proud that he's carrying on his father's legacy by taking the name Davey Boy Smith Jr. There's also a shop on Pro Wrestling Tees where you can get Davey Boy Smith merchandise, which is really nice. So yeah, Davey Boy Smith Jr., another favorite. And in sort of the main event contention will be Kazuchika Okada and taking on ROH, like gatekeeper Mr. ROH, Roderick Strong. So that is definitely the match that I'm looking forward to, even though I'm not going to be there. And the other match that looks really promising and really interesting will be Red Dragon, which is the team of Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, taking on Jay Lethal with Truth Martini and Shinsuke Nakamura.
That's going to be amazing. Primarily because I've become a big Shinsuke Nakamura fan since watching New Japan. And getting to see this guy in person, live, that's going to be wild. I'm very, very psyched.
He's going to try and meet them too, so he might, pull a fanboy.
I will. I'm going to probably try to meet Nakamura, Okada, and Goto. Those are like the guys I want to see the most.
That's good. And ROH does have really nice, they do meet and greets before all of their shows, which is good. You always want access to your people. We'll kind of move on back over to NXT Brooklyn. There is a little Japanese flavor because Tyler Breeze will be taking on a special challenge laid out for him by General Manager William Regal in the legendary, omniscient, possibly not human or of this world, Jushin Thunder Liger.
Which was very interesting because William Regal said, look, me getting Liger on TakeOver, it was just a matter of me calling an old friend and saying, hey, could you come on the show? Which I thought was really cool.
It's very cool. I mean, number one, you get to say you're old friends with Jushin Thunder Liger, but that just shows, that William Regal has maintained his contacts over the years despite his problems. And he has maintained really good relationships, which is good, which is great. I hope WWE uses that more because he has a lot of knowledge. He knows a lot of people, whether it's to bring people in for special shows like this whether it's to bring people in to train or scouting. Use this guy. He is a huge asset to your talent initiative, if it were.
That's right, and they just announced this match officially. They spoiled it on Twitter weeks before, but just last week they announced it officially on NXT, and afterwards they released this this music video, this tribute package for Liger, consisting of footage from WCW in Japan, and I thought it was very well done. Definitely, I'd have to believe that at some time or another they're going to put Jushin Liger in the Hall of Fame. This could be a very good. This could be a good video to use to hype him up.
Definitely. Very good. I've always wanted to go to a Hall of Fame, and if Jushin Thunder Liger gets inducted, unless it's next year in Dallas, because I would not survive that, I would definitely want to go to that. That would be cool.
I'd be down.
Also announced we have a number of title matches.
Yes.
Sasha Banks will be defending her NXT Women's Championship against Bayley.
If Bayley defeats Becky Lynch on NXT tomorrow, which I have to believe she will.
I hope so. Bayley needs her shot.
She does.
We also have the tag team titles on the line with Blake and Murphy, with, of course, Little Miss Alexa Bliss in their corner against the Vaudevillains, and General Manager William Regal advised them to find another option to neutralize Alexa. So the scuttlebutt on that is that it's their way of bringing in another NXT diva, potentially, which could be cool.
Right. I don't know who they'll bring in to fill that role. Maybe it'll be Billy Kay, Peyton Royce, who've just received those names, those NXT names.
If you're confused, that's Casey Cassidy and Jessie McKay. Which could be a good spot for them. I'm not sure who else they could put in there. But stranger things have happened. Also, you have Apollo Crews debuting, like we spoke about earlier.
Mm-hmm. The opponent's unknown. I think it'll be someone who's
squash.
It will be. I could see Solomon Crow or someone in that spot.
It might be just a local dude as a squash, because I don't think at this point you want to crush Solomon Crow like that.
No, but it just seems like he's, his traction's pretty much dead.
Right. Maybe put Bull Dempsey in there, just to let us know that he's alive.
Mm-hmm.
And lastly, for the main event, you have Finn Balor defending his NXT Championship against Kevin Owens in the rematch.
Yes, a ladder match, no less, which definitely ups the ante a little bit.
Of course. If you have never seen Kevin Owens / Kevin Steen in a ladder match, I advise you to go back and search for his ladder matches with El Generico and ROH.
And more than just him taking the ladder to the face, falling and flipping off Generico on the way out.
Yeah. Because I shouldn't laugh, but yeah. And I hope they're going to keep Owens' steam with the main roster, because there was, in the segment that never ends, which is the opening segment of Raw, and they had Randy Orton come out and he did his promo and he was making fun of Owens' weight. Now, Owens has lost a considerable amount of weight since coming to the WWE. And
he's still a big dude, but he looks trim, he looks healthy, he looks like more of an athlete, right? Wouldn't you say?
He's definitely not like a steroid freak monster like Ryback, and he's not a gym rat like Orton, but he's still big and powerful. He still has the stamina, which some people don't have. I'm not going to name any names because I'm sure people with a lot of names. But
though it seems like the rumor has it that those comments that were made in regards to Owens' weight, whether it was by Owens or whomever, it was due to Kevin Dunn.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised, because I think he was behind the whole Piggy James thing a few years back when Michelle McCool and Layla made fun of Mickey James's weight. Which, by the way, she's not overweight. She just happens to have some hips when the other girls didn't in that storyline. So fuck you, Kevin Dunn. Oh, and fuck you. Fuck you to the highest levels of fuckery, you fucking douchebag, Bucky Beaver. No brain in your head, Squirrel McNutkin. Fuck you, Kevin Dunn.
See, this, ladies and gentlemen, is why I go her.
Yes. It's always fun. And I like to get my little fuck you, Kevin Dunn plug in there. That should be trending on Twitter. Y'all what should work on that. Fuck you, Kevin Dunn. Because that man, it needs to. Because that man needs to go. Because Kevin Owens is worth so much more than that, you know?
He is. I thought that this was going to lead to something really cool, like a Cesaro-Owens feud, a singles feud, which, you know, we might still get, but it just seems like we're taking a route that I don't want to with Owens. I don't like the idea of him being put down for his weight. Like, even JBL, when Owens did that senton over the top rope, JBL referred to him as a flying tank, of course, and I don't know if it was regarding his weight or whatever, but it does seem like a Kevin Dunn-esque thing that would happen.
It does seem like a Kevin Dunn-esque jab, and I know it's kind of like the elephant in the room. Yeah, he's a bigger dude, but he can outrun you, he can do crazy things in the ring, he can out-talk you, and if he lands on you with that senton in the corner, you're going to get squished.
Yes, and speaking of talk, do not let Seth Rollins talk for that
Ever.
long. Again, I love Seth Rollins. I think he's one of the best wrestlers in the company. But talking is something he's not very good at. You know, it's always been a weak point.
It has, and starting your show every week with an opening segment that's at least 20 minutes and more into the half an hour range, and if that's your opening segment, that's an awful use of your 3 hours of television time. Please, no more of these long rambling, the segment that never ends, because I honestly have zero attention span for that, which is why I rarely tune into Raw, because I don't have the attention span for it.
Yeah, by the end of Raw this past Monday, I looked at my brother who was watching with me, and we were like this sucks. Like, this is really bad. And it was. I didn't like it. I didn't like Raw this week, which I guess you could say that about a lot of episodes of Raw. But just everything from the Divas Revolutions that just, it's spinning its wheels at this point, to Ryback and the IC title picture coming back to life. It's like, I don't care. I've reached the point of not caring.
Which is one step above death, ladies and gentlemen. And we'll talk more about what's going on in WWE. House Divided cannot stand. So we'll go ahead and go into this in depth next week and in the weeks to come. So go ahead and join us right back here. I believe we'll be in our normal time slot, but if not, check our Twitter feed and we'll let you know what time we'll be. We'll see you right here next week, Tuesday nights, Hold 1005.